Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. It is lovely to have you guys all with us. Ryan's getting ready to do his wave, so I don't know if we're doing the TikTok this morning, but
shit! Forgot all about that. I'm a man of the
see,
world. Useless.
what would you do if you didn't have us, eh?
Useless.
Basically running this entire TikTok channel.
I'm not wavy anymore. You've had your chance.
Mr.
Let's
Bow,
move
eh?
on. Let's move on.
Ryan's ready to move on. So, yeah, what have you had going on?
You had your
guys?
chance.
With your fish?
What do I had going on with my fishies?
Anything exciting? Anything noteworthy? Someone?
I can't even think what I've had go on. My black Capelli compies have settled in real nice, and I like them. They're cool. I'm enjoying them. My dumb but really good AliExpress lights are too bright, and the tanks just go green in a week now. So that's actually really stupid. So
you're just growing natural food, eh?
I can see the fish, but the algae grows so fucking fast, it's annoying. So yeah.
No, it's all part of the plan, man. Don't worry about it.
The plan,
yeah.
huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and someone's sending me Thomas. Oh no, not Thomas. Thomas is sending me some fish today. So I've got some. If they arrive, I'm a little bit worried about them because I don't know if they're packaged correctly, but we'll see. But I've got some Aurora showing up.
Nice.
Oh, man.
Which I really like, and I missed out on last time they came in the country, and then they basically pretty much all vanished. And then Thomas had some, so he's sending some up to me. But he's stuck 3 big fish in a bag times 3 and shipped them. And I'm just hoping
they might get one.
I'm hoping they haven't pulverized themselves in the bags. But I haven't seen how big they are, so hopefully they're okay.
Yeah, well, you'll have to keep us updated next week, but fingers crossed it'll all work out. I think.
I'm hoping so. Yeah.
Should be. Is it males and females, obviously?
Yeah, group. Yeah. I don't know how many. Nice. He said he was just sending me all of them, so hopefully they make it.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. What were you saying, Cam?
They're a cool fish.
Sure.
Cool fish.
As far as African cichlids go, they are
blue and yellow. They are one of the first Africans. Them and ice blues were the first African cichlids that I saw that I loved.
Yeah.
That's what got me into African cichlids. So I don't keep ice blues anymore for obvious reasons, but I'll keep Aurora.
Why don't you keep ice blues? I thought they were awesome fish.
They're cool, but they just get big and aggro.
You get big and aggro.
Sometimes.
You got plenty of room. I'm sure you could find somewhere.
I do like them. I do think they're a cool fish, but I just feel like everyone I sell them to that doesn't have a 6-foot tank, which is a lot of people, I'm just setting up to have decimation and destruction.
Oh, you just have to keep them for yourself then, eh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. What have you had going on, Cam? Any exciting breeding activities going on?
I had my Flamme Tetra spawn. I'm yet to see.
Is that like a Ramshorn?
Yeah. It's the more posh version of a Flame Tetra.
Comedy gold, eh?
I thought so too. Yeah, so I had them spawn up. Saw a lot of eggs, haven't seen a fry yet, but doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to turn up, hopefully soon. So,
who is Red Laser? That's a weird one. I haven't seen that one before.
I'll keep looking. So, yeah, away we go.
So, your flame tetras or flamme tetras, as you may say, okay. It sounds like some sort of fancy food item.
It's French. It's French beer.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna drink some tetras.
Yeah.
Did they?
The entire joke is going over your head, isn't it?
Did they hatch?
I don't get it.
I haven't seen fry yet. I am still looking. There is a
Right.
very big clump of Java moss and coconut husk in there, so they could be anywhere through that. I have not seen any eggs in the couple of days, so I'm hopeful there is fry hanging around in there somewhere.
How long ago did
Also,
they spawn?
I was okay.
Took the parents out on Thursday, so we should be seeing fry some sort of moving
Oh yeah.
yesterday, today sort of thing, if that makes sense.
Well, hopefully they're just moving at the back, out the way.
Or underneath stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's always the problem with them, eh?
Yeah.
Like they hatch, and the time goes, and you're like, oh yeah, nothing's hatched, but they're just little fish, man. It's hard to see.
Well, that's exactly what
I'm not
happened with
supposed to
my
know what's going on.
tank of random fry. I got no idea what they are. I was like, hey, there's fry in here. It was from like this morning I did like a month earlier, and they're still
It's
alive.
probably like those albino cherry bulbs, eh, young Kim?
Yeah, those albino cherry bulbs, and I didn't spot the fry for at least 3 weeks.
Well, I walked past the
what's
tank
that?
and I was like, "Hey, you've got fry in here." And he's like, "Oh, I just had to drain that tank." And I was like, "No, you got fry." And it quite possibly was the first spawning for albino cherry bulbs in New Zealand.
Yeah, man, and that tank had too much crap in it, which is why I probably didn't see them. They're probably under the. There's like this little rock thing and like some swords in that. Like,
No, tiny little buggers too.
yeah, I have to get an eye exam. It's problematic. I don't think I can like see the fish. So, what's the point of keeping the fish if you can't see them?
I agree.
So
Yeah,
man. But no, you had any other breeders on the go at the moment, Cam?
I was saying I was up north the other day and I saw a whole bunch of coconut matting that they use over the sand dunes in a skip bin, and I was there trying to pull it all out and trying to chop pieces off to send down to you to use as spawning nets, but I couldn't cut the bloody crap. It was like so intertwined and it had like thick strings through it. It was just like an absolute mission, and all the builders were looking at me like I was going through the skip looking for food or something, so it was a bit random, but
oh no, it's not weird, don't worry, it's for my fish tank.
Yeah, it gets way better.
Did you not have a MacGyver knife on you?
I was trying with my Stanley knife, and it just wasn't, it wasn't happening. So I did try.
Oh, maybe you can look it up though, Cam. See if you can buy some somewhere.
Yeah, you can buy a coconut husk from Bunnings, so that'll do me fine.
Yeah, YOLO, man.
Is it the matting stuff, or?
No, it's just like a big bag of husky stuff, and you pull it out, and tease it out, and away you go. Seems to work pretty well so far.
Sweet.
We have a hold on. How do I bring it up? Oh, we have a message from Helen, who says that the smallest fry that she has is the Habrosus cories, and she reckons that they just look like, when they're fried, they just look like little bits of detritus in that, just floating around. And honestly, that's the same with so many fish. That's really good.
I don't even know what a Habrosus cory is. What is a Habrosus cory?
Because you're a loser.
A little tiny grey cory, basically.
Salt and pepper cory.
Yeah, it's just like grey with like a little bit of blue, I guess. It doesn't seem like something that would be down Ryan's alley, to be honest. But
not even close.
No, at least
I'd be happy to be
proved
wrong.
It'll be a cool one, like a panda one, or that one with the lines on it, like a skunk cory or something. That'd be cool. But that Habrosus one looks dumb.
Judgy.
Coming from the guy that keeps African cichlids.
Yeah, man. But no, I'm glad we cleared that up. What have I had going on recently? I've not had too much exciting stuff going on, really. I had some real big. I don't know how big they would be, but like full adult size stir-by cories come in. So like probably nose to tail, probably almost 8 centimeters, I'd say. Oh, maybe a little bit less.
That's
6 or 7 centimeters. Yeah, they're pretty massive. Because some people that I know were like they had like 3 or they had like 4 or 5, and then they'd just been breeding in their big planted tank, and then they pulled it apart, and there was like 25 of the little things, And then because they're moving cities, they're just like, oh, I got all these cories, you're keen. So I got them, but they're real cool because, like, I think with stale bites, the thing is a lot of people don't realize quite how big they get, Like, you think of Cory and you think of what you'd see when you see them in the shop, which is like, to be honest, a pretty little fish. Not that much to it, like width-wise or anything. But, give them a few years with good food and all that kind of thing. They actually get pretty chunky, like the size of, I don't know, what would you say the size would be? Like
At corridors.
well, yeah, I was trying to give someone a comparison, wasn't I? I don't know, like one of those big marbles, that kind of size. I
A
guess.
bommy knocker.
Exactly.
Oh, that's big.
But yeah, they get real big and like big, like width-wise and height-wise as well, not just lengthwise. So that was pretty cool. That's probably the
Alan
coolest
just
thing.
described them as huge chonkers, so that sounds about right.
Yep, I'd agree with that. But no, they're cool little fish. Like, I love them.
In my journeys this week, I spotted a real cool fish tank at a client's house yesterday, so that was real cool. It was like a
describe it to us.
It was built into a big, massive sort of entertainment cabinet in the lounge, but sitting viewable from three sides. So as you walk in the door, you can see the side of the tank, and as you walk through the lounge, you can see the front of the tank, and as you walk down the stairs, you can see the back of the tank. Down to a downstairs area. It was real cool. Unfortunately, it was it could have been executed a lot better. The stocking was just discus, and it was full of algae, and it wasn't that great. But the setup of the aquarium was awesome. I was like, man, that'd be a cool Mambuna tank or just anything else tank other than this discus. And had lots of electric blue rams, which are actually quite cool in there. There was a bunch of them, so they were cool.
Nice. Yeah, and because the discus weren't very big or anything, eh?
They just had that. I've been to XYZ chain store and bought some discus and chucked them in my tank, and they're a little bit stunted and peppered, and they're not just a real high quality sort of fish.
Yeah,
sort of look about them. It's that good quality. So.
No, that makes sense.
Does us having discus in the background trigger you every Wednesday morning?
It does. I hate it, but also those discus in the background are actually really nice discus, so I'm a little bit more okay with them. A little bit more.
And to be honest, there wasn't really much other choice in terms of fish-related things, for the background.
There was probably some Tropheus available, but Tropheus is stupid.
Fair enough. I remember I tried to do a video of my tank, and it wouldn't work,
Yeah,
not ideal. That's what she said. But that sounds like a cool tank, man. You should get them to let you set up a bunch of Mbuna for them.
I was showing the guy. I didn't see the guy who owns the tank, who owns the house, but I saw his mum, and I was like, I love the aquarium, and she's like, yeah, it's my son's hobby. And I showed her this tank behind me, and she's like, oh, you need to show him. You need to show him. So I've just got to upload this to Dropbox or something and send it to him, and then be like, love your aquarium. I'd totally love to put my Mbuna in it.
Yeah, man. It's a good plan.
Yeah. Hey, I like your aquarium.
And that's how Ryan.
I don't know what the closing line for that pickup line is. I just don't think it's going to be very successful somehow.
I want to put my Mbuna in it. You've already made the pickup line.
Yeah. I want to put my long sausage fish in it.
Oh wait.
Kim's struggling to keep her hands off me right now. She's listening to this and she's loving it.
Went too far.
Oh, I'm sure. No, good to hear it. Sweet as. Well, yeah. Has anyone else had any exciting stuff going on this week? Anything else you want to report to our lovely listeners?
No, I think we're good now.
Sweet as. Well, I just wanted to take a little second to remind people, if you haven't already.
You need to start pulling your curtains soon, Cam, because you're starting to get the sunny glow going on behind you.
Oh, sorry, sir. Let's pick it up. But
Have you got pants on? Have you got pants on?
I do, don't worry. There we go. This is my curtains. This is great for an audio podcast, but we got there in the end. Don't worry about it. It's all under control.
I like
But
the floral
what else-
curtains, by the way. They're very nice.
Yeah, pretty swag. I like
They
it.
suit you. They suit your flannel
Thanks.
shirt.
It matches this chair as well, which is kind of fun.
Mm.
But what I was going to say is, if you guys haven't already, you guys being the listeners, if you could please give us a subscribe and a Spotify rating, and share it with your friends and all that, that would be very cool. Ryan would be especially grateful. I know he cries a lot when he doesn't get those 5-star reviews. So please, that would be much appreciated. And thank you very much in advance. But I guess the next sort of, what is this? The next segment, you could say, is we have the random question time, and then we have the email time. And the email's a funny one.
Don't you usually do it in the last order?
Yeah, you do the
Or
other
different
order.
order? You usually
Okay.
do the list of mail and then the.
Okay, well, we can do the listener mail then.
You
So
can't do it out
this-
of order.
This is funny because we received it like maybe 15 minutes before we went on air from Thomas. And if he hadn't sent this, I'm not going to lie, we wouldn't have received any other emails. So, got in just before the bell, which is cool. But I shall read it out now. So Thomas has 2 questions, which is always good. He says, how do fish know what kind they are? Wait, what? Oh, don't worry. I was reading the wrong thing. He's wanting to know how fish in a mixed tank, we're talking about African cichlids, but I suppose could be any fish, know what fish they are to be able to make a pair with another one of their same fish. And especially, fish you would imagine don't have any sense of their own self-image in that. I don't think they'd know a mirror or reflection or that. So how do they know what they are to know what someone else of interest to them is? Especially in a mixed tank where it's there's not just one thing, so that you have choice. So what do you guys think? How do they know what's going on with that?
Well, half the time they don't, because if they
African
spawn in,
cichlids, yes.
yeah,
African cichlids in a
should
mixed
not
tank will just
talk
breed with any female that's ready, and they just see the signs and they breed with them. Most dominant fish will breed with everything. But it is an interesting question. Like if you have a whole bunch of Oscars and something else in a tank, why the Oscars pair off and don't pair off with something else. But I guess there must be some sort of I don't know how to describe it without. I'm not like a fish in the brain scientist, whatever that would be.
Fish psychologist.
A what?
Ichthyologist.
Fish psychologist. Oh.
A theologist.
Yeah,
I'm
ichthyologist.
not a Ramshorn expert, but they must have something in their genetics or in their brains that means they're wired to pick up on it. I guess it's the only way I can think of it. What do you guys reckon?
He asked if they put out some sort of scent or something like that, where the other fish would get,
A
attracted
pheromone.
to that. You could call it that if you're that way inclined, I guess.
And I am.
But yeah,
I don't
they
know.
put out
I
some
don't
scent or something.
think so. I think it's to me it would be visual. I would say, but I certainly know I've seen African cichlids that hate other African cichlids, and it's definitely visual. They see them, they want to bash them. They're not sniffing them.
I think,
No.
yeah, I think for this kind of question, to be honest, I think the African cichlids maybe isn't the best sort of example, because, to be honest,
They're aquatic
they
rats.
just breed with anything, and they don't really form pairs. Well, at least for a lot of the Malawi cichlids specifically, not necessarily forming pairs, kind of just breeding with whatever's present, to be honest. Maybe something even like frontoses, I guess, or your American cichlids, like your Oscars, what Ryan mentioned before, and things like that are actually a bit more pair focused, might be a bit better to understand this kind of question. But to be honest, I have no idea. I kind of think it just must be one of those really deep natural things where they would recognize the color or shape or something and just naturally be attracted to it, like that's what appeals to them. So that's what they try to make appeal with. But
I mean, because it's,
I don't know. I'll ask them. I'll ask an Oscar today, and I'll tell you what they say.
Essentially, the fish's only purpose on this life in this world is to procreate and reproduce. Right? That's the only thing it's really put on this planet to do. That's what it's wired for.
Pretty much.
So that must be an extremely big drive in the fish's brain. The male fish is always looking for female fish to make babies with, and the female fish is always looking for the best and brightest and biggest male fish to make babies with. So yeah, I guess there must be something in there wired in their brains to make that happen. Otherwise, they'd die out. The species wouldn't exist, and that's the only purpose for being.
The other thing as well is it doesn't necessarily always happen, like, so for example, Helen here, if I pull this up, has put a comment that says she has a pair of checkerboards with a pair of rams, and the male checkerboard is often showing off to the female ram, which is obviously a different species. So it's not necessarily always the case. Even, for example, my ornate baisha is always trying to breed with my arowana, like constantly. Obviously, they're not even really close.
I wonder if there's a shape to it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But then it's like, I mean, not that close, really,
Well, they're long and sort of cylinder-ish.
But...
Yeah, ish being keyword. Really. But hey, like, humans breed with ish things as well, so wouldn't be uncommon for the fish world to go do that.
I don't know if we should go there. Okay, moving on. Facebook user who...
Shifty eyes made me think that wasn't the correct comment to say.
Facebook user who I'm going to assume is Thomas, but very much might not be, also has another question.
Correct. You would be correct. Good
to know. Well, Thomas says, in the wild, there would be heaps of hybrids in Ryan's case. Kind of asking the question is there hybrids? Why is there not? If there's not, how does that whole thing work?
I think in the wild, it comes down to space.
They're all essentially hybrids.
Well, a lot of them, yeah, essentially they have hybridized,
and then colonized
from different species. And in the wild, they are doing all sorts of dumb stuff. Like they find a fish that they like, and it's too far across the lake, so they grab them and chuck them on a different rock closer to the collection point, and stuff with nature, and then they all crossbreed, and it's all a mess.
That's humans you're talking about.
Humans, yes, yeah. But yeah, I think in the wild, there's a lot more space, so they're not crammed into a tiny aquarium. Even a big aquarium is a tiny aquarium compared to the wild. Like Lake Malawi is freaking massive. Like it's ginormous.
It's not really a lake; it's like a ocean.
It's a bloody ocean. I think it would be like comparable in the size to New Zealand type thing. I think
that's ginormous.
It's that big. So like a male chases a female off that's not his, and it goes away and goes and breeds with the right male, hopefully. But in the aquarium, it can't. It just keeps the same females always right by it, and the biggest fish occupies the whole territory. So that's my theory. But if it does go wrong, there will be hybrids and stuff.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, because the thing is, like, you take a, I don't know, species. I can't think of any example for some reason, but like, they all live in this one reef or in this one rock or this one area, and like that's where they all live. So they just kind of breed with each other because that's what lives there. Because there's so much space, other things just move. But what does happen? I don't know if people know that much about like Lake Victoria, but a lot of invasive species have eaten a lot of the native Victorian cichlids. So now there's like a lot of them as hybrids because a lot of the fish just died, got eaten. So whatever fish is around is breeding with whatever other fish is around, but they're not necessarily the same species. So then there's hybridization of them. naturally. And I mean, some of it will occur naturally even in Lake Malawi, but, just opportunity is not quite there necessarily.
That's how they've all come about, from hybridizing from like 4 different species. So of course it happens in the wild.
I just mean
it's a natural process of how the fish
will
expand.
I just mean not in as much like volume wise, because of the opportunity of like, if all the one species is just hanging out in one area, obviously they're not going to encounter other stuff that much to hybridize with, so they just don't.
I've just done some googling on it, and apparently Ed Connings writes that he has observed maybe 1 or 2 hybrids in Lake Malawi in the wild over the course of hundreds of dives, observing hundreds of thousands of fish. So it can happen, but the rate at which it happens is super low. It is not even known that the first generations of hybrids are successful at passing their genes along to a second generation, because they'll be less likely to be selected by the females. But they do say, though, that obviously through natural selection, like the course of, so like you could have like a hurricane or something that physically forces 2 species of fish together, and then over thousands of years they become a new species, basically.
That's the other thing I think we forget a lot of the time, is like nature takes a long time. Even like you see those things of people do these things. It's like if the entire course of like the history of the world got condensed into one day, humans have been around for like 1 minute or something like that, And it's like nature's over the course of like thousands of years, and even humans haven't really been here that long. And the lifespan of one human is like nothing. So things take a lot longer to actually happen, like for a new species to pop up in whatever.
For it to be a new species, it has to be established for a long, long time and actually have its own attributes and stuff like that. So
these things take time, of course. And I mean, it does obviously happen. That's how we got here. But it's like thousands of years to happen, not 2 weeks kind of thing.
Also, physically in Lake Malawi, it doesn't look like my tank behind me. Like 99% of the fish we keep in the same aquarium never see each other and never will see each other in the wild.
Exactly.
Because they often live thousands of miles apart between different rock pools and rock piles and stuff like that. And these big predator haps will stop them from going anywhere. So, yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, what were you going to say, Cam? It looked like you had something to say.
Oh, like the odds of a fry getting to adult breeding age is phenomenally low. And then even though it's got the adult breeding stage, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have the ability to spawn as well. So like the odds of any lines from a hybrid becoming colonized is incredibly low.
And in theory, like you're saying, that the hybrid, like a hybrid male will grow up and he shouldn't be as attractive to a pure female as a pure male, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he shouldn't breed,
just
in
ugly.
Theory. Yeah.
But that whole theory gets thrown out the window when you look at any of the peacock species, because all the females are basically essentially the same.
But a lot of them are separated by geography.
Yeah.
So they're physically separated in the lake. They don't physically live together, you know.
And I suppose the other thing is it's about if the female wants to breed with the male. It probably doesn't matter so much the other way.
The male.
Assuming that the male is the hybrid.
I'd say.
Yeah.
But the female in the lake presumably has space to swim away and say no. In the aquarium, she don't.
Exactly. Yeah, but no, that's an interesting discussion. I enjoyed that. Does anyone else have any final thoughts that they'd like to add?
No.
Swag. Well, we're still, so in case you forgot, we're still on this email.
Okay, what's the second question?
And that was just question 1. So we'll get to question 2.
I've read this email, and before you read it out, Thomas, don't throw stones in glass houses, buddy.
Well, how about Cam? How about you read it out, part 2?
No,
I'd like that.
I'd have to find it, so I can't bother doing that.
Oh. Well, Thomas says part 2, which is specifically, he says, directed for Cam, the other Cam. He says, is it challenging putting your shoes on in the morning when you have 6 toes? Discuss.
Oh, that's brilliant. I like that. It's actually a genuine question. So,
is it
What's the answer?
Is it Timaru or Oamaru you live in, which is in the middle of butt fuck nowhere?
Doesn't matter. It's the same place. It's not.
We can still pull the piss out of Nelson though, and beat England. Surely.
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. I was born in Wellington, a major city, the capital of the country.
You can't verify
Is Wellington a major city?
Enough
Is it
said.
really?
It's north of the Bombay. It's south of the Bombay, so it doesn't really exist, does it?
Do you know that Nelson's the smallest city in New Zealand? Actual genuine city.
Mm-hmm.
They're really stretching that definition.
Just some small town stuff today. We've got Jack Black and Andre Malmo, or whatever how you say his name, in Helensville today, filming the Minecraft movie.
Andre
the guy from Equaworld, whatever his name is.
You mean Jason Momoa?
Jason Momoa, that one, yeah, that one, yeah, Jason Momoa, the hot guy apparently. They're in Helensville today. They've kitted out a bunch of the old shops to film the Minecraft movie here. So, you know,
man, they must have a real tight budget for that film to be filming it in Helensville.
They just came to the best place.
You can spend $12 for the set. That's the budget.
Yeah, and it's a month's leased because all the shops are empty. That one was actually full. It was an antique shop, and they hired it off the owner. And yeah, so there you go. Small town stuff. You can look out for Helensville on the movie, the Minecraft movie, when it comes out.
Yeah, man. It'll be the Helensville cinema will be pumping.
The cinema's no longer a cinema; it's an antique shop. But you know.
Helen says that Marilyn Monroe had 6 toes on each foot, for people wondering, and Martin Guptill also has 4 toes on one of his feet. So that's your daily toe facts. So still counts, but now you know more about people's toes. So yeah, if you guys want to send some listener mail to us, we would very much appreciate it. You can do that by emailing to podcast3idiots@gmail.com, or you can send it to what's it called? 3 Idiots Talk Aquariums on Facebook or Instagram, or just come into one of our shops and
I just posted twice. How did that happen?
And you call me backwards.
Okay, Ryan's talking about in the chat. Cam just put the email address.
One's on YouTube,
one of them's
one's on
YouTube,
Facebook.
one's on Facebook.
Okay, all right.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Definitely from Helensville. But
we need to call this podcast 2 Idiots, 1 fucking monkey.
Walza, grumpy. But yes, please send us mail. You can send us questions or stories or fish-related anything. Well,
as we say, abuse,
anything doesn't necessarily have to be fish-related. Can be whatever you like. But
questions about Cam's 6 toes are definitely...
Okay, Thomas reckons we're getting feet pics now, so one of you two can be in charge of checking the inbox now.
Doesn't surprise me that someone that's into fish is into feet pics too, you know. But whatever floats your boat, mate.
Yeah. All right. So
random question time. That one's done.
Oh yeah. So I was going to say. So please send us some mail. I'll keep an eye out, and Cam will keep an eye out, and Ryan will probably not. We'll tell him.
I won't keep an eye out.
Okay, well, I'll keep an eye out.
Pops up on my notification. Oh, I've got an email. Oh, wait, that's not for me. And if I click into it, I don't know how to get back to my actual email, so I don't do it anymore. It wasn't worth the stress.
I'll keep an eye out, and I'll just tell everybody what the email says. So please do. No email is too small. But yeah, okay. Next segment is a random. Random question time, and that is going to be. What is your go-to breakfast of the day?
That is random.
Go-to breakfast of the day. So is this like
what's your favorite thing to have for breakfast, basically?
Favorite or normal everyday thing for breakfast?
Either. You choose.
Oh, I'm a big fan of bacon or salmon, eggs, Benny type thing for breakfast. That's pretty badass.
What a major baller. We get it.
That's just so good. Bacon,
someone's
bit of
pretty
bacon,
cool.
bit of egg, bit of avocado, some hollandaise sauce on some muffin splits is pretty badass.
Geez, you are from Auckland having avocado on toast.
Avocado.
I've got a house, so I can afford avocados.
Okay, boomer.
What a humble guy.
Hey-o.
All right. What about you, Cam?
I normally have a smoothie each morning.
Well, that's boring.
Yeah.
I didn't ask what you have every morning. I asked what a good breakfast was. I don't have that every morning, obviously. I have 2 boiled eggs every morning.
You do.
Boring.
Don't lie to us. We know what's up.
Jesus, this would be huge if I had that every morning. Way bigger than what it is.
All right. Well, for me, I like to go for. I don't think you can beat some good leftovers. Not gonna lie, like doesn't really matter what it is.
Oh, the mince on toast is a good breakfast of champions, isn't it? If there's leftover mince,
you know what?
It's pretty good.
You know what I do like? If you have mashed potatoes the day before and there's leftovers, putting mashed potatoes in a toasted sandwich with
some cheese.
Like cheese, then it's like the best part of the potato top pie, and you get to have it for breakfast. So
No,
you know what?
Potato top pie is pastry.
Do you know what? Now that you've gone there, the ultimate breakfast is actually leftover Indian on toast.
On toast?
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Especially vegetarian. I eat my missus is vegetarian, like the potato and pea curry on toast. So good. So good. Heat it up, obviously.
Is probably the worst take I've ever heard in my life, but let's move on. So the main topic for today's podcast that we're getting to just now is we're going to be talking about our favorite brands of fish stuff. So it could be obviously like your food, like fish food, or it could be other stuff like equipment or, the actual aquariums or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Just whatever the best brands are that we like. So I'm going to leave it pretty open-ended. Can be for whatever reason you like them. Maybe it's quality, maybe it's price, maybe it's margins, Cam. But whatever you like, shoot. So who wants to go first? Baldy, go.
Hit me.
I like me some good New Life Spectrum food. I think it's pretty good.
Do you want to go any more in depth into that take, or are you just going to leave it there?
Yeah, it's a good food, and if you can get the 2 kilo buckets,
why is it
price,
a good food?
It works out. It nutritionally has good shit in it. So,
what kind of thing? What kind of fish are you feeding it for?
To be honest, I'm not really a brand connoisseur. I'm a very basic bitch when it comes to that sort of stuff. I do like me a good fish food, but I'm not a brand snob. I use whatever works. I guess there's some stuff that works better, like heaters and stuff. You don't buy shit heaters. And I like to use egg birds and stuff. You like
NLS because it's good quality, like not that much like fillers and random stuff, and also you can get bulk things that makes it cost effective for you.
Yes,
and because New Life Spectrum is mostly like known as a African cichlid kind of brand, like that's kind of what their main thing is. But they do stuff for whatever, like flakes and pellets and algae wafers and even marine food and stuff. So there is options for everybody, even if its main thing is a cichlid, African cichlid thing. So no, that makes sense.
Also, apparently my fish are out for delivery, so maybe we'll get a live fish unboxing during the podcast. Hey?
Hopefully it doesn't go.
Hopefully it's successful.
Yeah, that would suck. But yeah, no, it makes sense. All right, what about you, Cam? What's your go-to thing?
I like Fluval Hardware.
Fluval Hardware.
Hardware. What does that mean?
I am not a fan of that take at all.
FX6s and stuff you're talking.
Because you're a loser. Their heaters are good. Their filters are good.
I haven't actually tried the heaters, to be fair.
Exactly, because you're a loser.
To anyone that's not a little wincy baby child, an FX series of filters is great.
But that's not even like, hold on. I object to that because that's not even the only objection I have to Fluval.
That's the only objection you've had to them. That's the only objection, the only valid objection you've had to them.
That's the only one you've fixated on for the
and you don't like the supplier, so that doesn't count either.
You like what?
No, because
he doesn't like the supplier.
So not necessarily. Big and they're so heavy.
Shut up. Not necessarily the FXs, like the big ones, but even the what are they called? Those littler ones, like the normal size ones,
the in-tank ones.
Filters. No, the little canister filters,
the 404s and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Those crap.
They're great filters.
They function well, but they're so noisy and they're very. It's like it doesn't last that long. So like they got those little levers. They got those little levers to
the primer pumpy things with a little sponge on.
Well, yeah, that, but also that little lever to like detach the hoses off the little coupling thing. That thing is the most rickety thing I've ever encountered, and they're really noisy and they're pretty expensive. Like you can get, I think, a better filter that's more quiet and just as efficient in that for like the same price. So. Because I think the reason why Fluval is so like everyone has Fluval filters and stuff is a lot of it is because it's like an American brand and everyone watches like American YouTubers and stuff. But quality wise, I think it's like overpriced for what it is. This filters in particular.
I disagree. Based on the fact that I've used a fuckload of those 404s and a heap of FXs and never had any dramas with them. I mean, I don't go out and do bicep curls with them or complain about how heavy they are. But
but yours are all like just in a fish room and stuff. So it's like they're making all this noise and whatever.
I've used FXs on display tanks, and
but I'm talking about the little ones. I can't remember whatever they're called. Not necessarily
the 403s and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, just not my thing. But yes, sorry to interrupt, Cam. Continue.
I've got a feeling you're wrong, and I don't actually think Fluval's American. I'm pretty sure it's German, but that's okay. We'll let that slide.
Oh, well, I thought it was American, but who cares?
It's pretty big in America. You definitely say it's big in America, but
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's American.
Their hardware is good. Their E-series of heaters are really ridiculously good. It's a shame that for some reason New Zealand importer doesn't bring them in anymore. The FX range of filters are fantastic. I love the technology that they have put into it with the microchips and all that kind of good stuff. Overall, I just think they're good.
Yeah. They got those heaters that you mentioned. That's the one with like, it's got that built-in like protective case, and like the little LCD display and stuff like that.
Yeah, so they come with a heater cover, so like your big stupid Oscars won't break them. An LCD screen, if it's too cold, it flashes blue. If it's too hot, it flashes red. If there's enough flow, it flashes saying low flow. You can adjust just by flicking a switch over. So I thought they're bloody good, but they just stopped bringing them.
What they call them? The E-series. E-series.
Yeah.
What do they call them? Yeah, they were here for a while. They mustn't have sold.
Yeah, I used to sell a few of them. I'm assuming that's why. Probably
They're
the same reason. Probably the same reason why they won't bring in their lights or anything else like that. But yeah, for hardware, I think Fluval is really good.
Yeah, they just did look pretty cool. It was funny when they stopped bringing them in. Was like right when I was like considering whether I should get some, and then they like stopped, and I was like, oh, I guess that answers that.
That answers that question. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, that is quite cool.
What I didn't like is like when they went into the food range. I'm a big sort of thought on if you do hardware, stick with hardware. If you do food, stick with food. Like CChem does chemicals and like science laboratory stuff. Stick with that. Don't go out of your lane, sort of thing. Where you're good at, if that makes sense. So I wasn't a huge fan of that.
But also CChem does the equipment, and I think makes really good. Well, not in New Zealand, but makes really good like hang-on back filters, for example.
Yeah, but they're not made by CChem. They're made by another company that then had CChem branded on it.
Yeah, I know, but they would like develop them and brand them and put effort into them. CJ.
No, I can't remember the
I
name.
did-
It's CI. It's an Italian brand. It's all Italian. None
Yeah,
of it
it's
is made in house
called
by Fishkeeping. Hey,
Yeah, it's called Cice. They make
that
a
how
lot
you
of like
say it?
water pumps. Yeah.
Well, like none of that is
I mean, I
Seeking,
don't.
none of that is Seeking manufactured. All the other stuff from Fluval is Hagen manufactured, which is owned by that company. So
Yeah,
you know,
but they
again,
make.
sticking your own lane with your chemicals, Hagen or Fluval sticking your own lane with your hardware, that sort of thing is what I was going
Yeah.
with.
Makes sense.
But the bug bites are pretty well reviewed, aren't they? Aren't they good food?
Yeah, but yeah, the general the Fluval branded Fluval foods, I didn't think was all that fantastic. And saying
They've
that, the
got, like-
Fluval bug bites is just a direct rip off of Fish Science.
The bug bites is kind of like branded different though. It's like almost treated as like a separate brand from what I gather. Like obviously it's not. But
It
like,
doesn't
just
have
the
a
way
lot
they
of Fluval on the packaging, and it doesn't look like Fluval stuff when you look at it. Like the same as their heaters and
compared to
filters.
the old
Yeah, exactly.
compared to the old Fluval flakes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that makes sense. That's a good choice. I do like me some fancy heaters. So
But I thought you didn't like Fluval.
I like the heaters, like the bug bites.
In the space of 6 minutes, if I just changed your opinion on Fluval, that's a win. Hey, I'm taking it.
I still don't like the canister filters. Like the internal
I think
filters.
maybe you should just go to the gym.
Breaking news: the aquarium project now carries Fluval filters.
I'm not gonna lie, it seems very unlikely.
Also,
Yeah, you got to bankrupt yourself to buy them.
the Fluval internal filters are actually bloody good as well. It's a shame they are insanely expensive. I thought they were really good.
Yeah, they're like quite they got quite a lot of media in it for an internal filter, right?
Yeah, and you could adjust the flow rates really well, directional rates of them, all sorts of cool stuff. But they didn't sell for me, so I don't stock them anymore. And the black, which I'm a big fan of.
Once you go black.
Well,
yeah.
That segues.
They've got this cool little suction cup. You can click it off and then pull it out, so your suction cups don't go on and off the glass all the time and wear out. Like they are
it's like a little bracket thing.
Over-engineered to ever, but they just didn't sell. I think they're way cooler than the Eheim internals.
Well, that segues me nicely to the next thing that I was going to talk about is I quite like Eheim stuff. Mostly it's just like filters and stuff like that, obviously. But the canister filters are, I think, better than the Fluval ones.
You should have said, speaking of going bankrupt, I really like Eheim.
Well, I could have said, I should have said, speaking of Eheim, I really like Eheim. That would have been easier. But Eheim is something like filters mostly is what I'm talking about. But they're really, like, they last a long time and, like, really well engineered and everything like that. The only thing I don't like particularly about the little internal filters is just they're like lime green, which is kind of annoying that they just stick out so bright against everything. But they are cool little filters, and they're good value for money.
They've got the plastic rod going up through the middle there to hold the media in.
I think it's only on the smaller size ones. I don't think the big ones have it, but don't quote me on that. I haven't looked at that for a long time.
I didn't like them for that reason. I didn't allow you to modify it to whatever way you wanted. That's the one thing that pissed me off.
But you can pull it out, couldn't you, or not?
We could cut it out, but it's part of the design. But you can just, you still can put media in it though. Like you just, if you had, I don't know, like noodles or whatever, you chuck them in, it'll do the job. Like it'll just go around it. Like that's no worries. For me at least. I think the idea with that is because that actually is like purposeful because it has this foam like stuff that comes with it. But the rod in the middle, like I don't know how to explain, but it allows the flow to like go up through the middle and then out. So you get the contact with like the whole foam instead of like it all just blasting on like this one little bit at the bottom and then working its way through out there, out the top. I mean,
shit, you're some sort of like flow dynamic engineer with that sort of talk, mate.
I don't know, man. I just looked at it. And I was like, water go there. Seemed good.
Yeah.
But Yeah, I really do like Eheim. I think they're good filters. They are a bit more expensive, obviously, but I think it's worth it. And the things like the classic canister filters aren't obviously as expensive. They got kind of stuff at different price points. So
I like the classics. I think they're just
Those are
good.
the little circular ones with the really weird looking top on them with the angular sort of top, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
They're cool. They're cool
little
looking filters.
green
Green
tube
buggers.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I don't
Yeah.
like about them is the little tiny little middle clips. They could just be a little bit bigger. But other than that, I think
the bottom outlet can get snapped off and not replaced. That's the problem as well with them. It's a hard line in there rather than a screw-in sort of thing, so you can't replace it. And I've snapped them off before.
Well, just don't drop it and it'll be fine.
But that's the way of you coming back to buy more.
But they've also been 10 or 15-year-old filters. They've been pretty old, so they've been pretty stuffed. I've got a really old Eheim over there, one of those 22 whatever Pro 2280s or something like that over there on the Trophies tank, and it's really good. So it is a good filter.
Yeah, man.
There used to be a thing though when they came out with, so they had the FX5 and they had the equivalent Eheim one, and you could buy 2 FX5s for the price of one Eheim one.
They've still got those Eheim filters.
The big buckets, like it's equivalent to a FX5, and they did hold more media than an FX5, I believe.
The professionals
FX5s for the same price as one of them.
Yeah, so, Eheim Professionals, whatever they are, and they also have Eheim Professional thermos, which have a heater inbuilt as well.
Oh yeah.
And they got that little pre-filter thing, in the top as well.
Oh, do they? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure they do. Oh, it might not be all of them, but at least some of them do.
Cool.
Like a lot of the fancy Eheim, like the real top end Eheim ones, have this little.
And Eheim now own Jaeger too, don't they? They own the Jaeger heaters.
Yep, I believe so. Well, the company that owns them owns that, I guess.
So they're a good heater. They were always a traditional good heater.
Yep.
One of the mainstays of the hobby.
Yeah, man. So we have a question that I'll pull up. One second.
I was going to mention that one because that was going to be
why
my
don't you
next
read
brand.
It out? We'll read out the question first, and then you can say it.
I'll shout out to Vishal, who's a friend of mine, comes and buys African cichlids and regularly messages me. He's a good bugger. And so he said, what about basic filters, something which you find in most Kiwi homes? You hardly see Fluval out there due to cost, Aqua One. So, Aqua One's were going to be one of the brands that I bought up, but the problem with Aqua One is you've got to be selective. Like the Aqua One CF 1200s and stuff like that, the CF range of filters is brilliant. The Nautilus range of filters is rubbish.
But the key to this topic is top fish keeping brands. Is Aqua One really a top fish keeping brand in New Zealand?
I'd say it's definitely a top fish keeping brand because it's very popular. Their heaters are good, like good for the money. They're not the best heaters, but they're the best cheap heater you can buy. I'd say the CF 1200 is probably the best external filter you can buy for the money in New Zealand. There are betters, but you won't spend 100. I mean, you can get them for $170 brand new. They're brilliant. Second hand, you can pick them up real cheap. Most pet shops stock all the parts for them. I've had some that have been running for probably 15 years and they haven't had anything done to them.
And the rest of their products, where do they rate?
Yeah, well, they do lights that are okay, don't they?
Nope.
I've seen some all right Aqua One lights. I thought
shit. The new ones are rubbish.
Okay, well there you go.
So the rest of their products, you can't put them in the top fish keeping brand because the rest of their products are rubbish.
The problem with someone called out the Nautilus 2700. Yep, if you get a good one, they're good, but if you get a leaky one, throw it away. They leak like no tomorrow. I've got one over there that I've put new seals through and everything, and every time the power goes off, it pisses water everywhere.
So does that make it a good brand, or does it make it two of their products are good?
You need to be selective on what you're buying from Aqua One. I'd recommend the CF filters.
Does that make them a top brand, or does that just mean two of their products are good?
It does say top fish keeping brands, and Aqua One is a top fish keeping brand in New Zealand. So that's fact.
I'd say
doesn't make it top.
the thing with Aqua One is it's cheap, obviously. Like everything's real cheap, but naturally there's a reason. Like I wouldn't even go as far as saying that the Aquas 1200 is a good filter. Like it's
Great
fine.
bang for buck.
Yeah, like it's fine. Like it's not. I wouldn't say bad, but I wouldn't say it's a great filter. Just because like every week people were having problems with them, like coming with leaky seals or like busted taps or whatever. Just because it costs like $180 to buy one, it's not going to be the world's nicest thing. So like you save a bit of money, but people do have a lot of issues with the.
I've never had one leak on me. I've
How,
never had
how
one leak
good
on
are
me.
the-
If you turn that,
how good's the aquarium range of the Aqua One?
oh, that's a good
Hit or
question.
miss.
They're actually-
How often do you hear people with cracked aquariums from Aqua One? Splitting seals. How often do you hear that?
The thing is, with that,
the overhead filters
Is that
are going
a
wrong?
volume thing? Is that a volume thing?
Could be.
with
like-
that, I was going to say the other thing is, I think that the bigger problem is like with those little trickle filters that goes across the top, designed very poorly, because you get a lot of people with them leaking. I reckon.
They need an overflow on them somewhere inside the tank, not on the so they don't flow at the outside, basically.
Yeah. So,
But the AR 980, the AR 980's probably got to be the mainstay of the aquarium. They used to do the 38-liter ones too. What are they? The AR 38 or something?
380.
They were popular. They were popular as.
I think they've changed into the Eco Flows or whatever, Eco something or other.
Eco style.
That's the one.
But the curved front smaller tanks did have maybe a higher percentage chance of cracking. I had one crack on me. I think where the glass curves
I go back to
around.
my question: is Aqua One a top fish keeping brand?
But the big tanks are good. The reef tanks are really good. The 4-foot tanks, the 5-foot, the 6-foot tanks. What do they call them?
Brilliant.
I forget what they call them. The Brilliants. They're pretty good.
I once again ask the defendant: is Aqua One a top fish keeping brand? With all of these things that go wrong,
I'm going to say yes or no. Yes and no.
I think
I'm a
the thing is,
politician. Getting a politician answer.
I thought
there'd
Cam
be
was a
in
politician.
New Zealand, there'd be a top brand in terms of like presence and like usage in that. But in terms of, well, I mean, even in price, and then in terms of quality, probably not for most.
I'd say
like
they're not. I'd say they're not the cheapest, the most cheapest rubbish you can buy on the market. They're not Sun, you know.
Yeah,
but
and I mean, they're like some stuff is good. Like for example, I use a lot of their pond stuff for clients, and that stuff's all real good. Like
Isn't the tank
lasts
behind you,
for
Sun?
ages. You what?
What's that?
Isn't the tank behind Ryan Sun?
No,
I thought it
it's
was.
via Clear or something. Clear Aquatics. This one. This is also bloody good. I'd rate this, but then it's not a brand in New Zealand, so I don't know. I don't even know where it come from. It probably comes out of the same factory as Sun and stuff, but it's a really well put together package.
Probably.
But it's actually designed properly, which we don't see.
What about the Aqua One veggie chips that are fed to plecos that I don't believe have any algae or vegetables in them?
Yeah, they're terrible, aren't they? Yeah.
But it's cheap, so I suppose it depends on how your sort of criteria is operating.
Yeah. I guess
yeah.
you can put it that way.
All right. Well, what is your next one, Cam?
That's a good question.
That was a weird noise.
It was a weird noise because I only thought I was going to get one option today.
Yeah.
Food-wise, I am a big fan of fish science.
Why is that?
I believe it's revolutionized the way we look at aquarium food in the world. They're the originals that have put insects into everything. They're the original formulas of it. And everyone has sort of followed suit from it. So in a sense, they've totally changed the game. I'm just a big fan of the idea of having insects in aquarium food for what our fish eat. I like that corridor tablets have.
Did fish science did they do it before Apache?
That's a good question. Although
I always thought Apache were one of the
Cam's got
first
some
to put the insects in there, but
you could also argue that they are a different.
They're a different thing anyway, aren't they? Completely
different
really.
things, yeah.
Because Apache was essentially made for reptiles, not for fish.
Yeah. that and like one's a gel product and one's a pre-prepared open a container, go for it. I also like that they've consulted with and designed a lot of their products with experts, not only aquarium experts, but ichthyologists and stuff like that, who have studied what's inside of fish stomachs and that kind of stuff, which I think is a massive thing. So like the Corridora tablet, for example, is being designed with Ian Fuller, who's like a world-renowned Corridoras expert, from what's found in it. And if they couldn't get that product, that food source, they've replicated it as close as possible. So yeah, I'm a fan.
And you know all this because you've actually essentially met the guy, but essentially interviewed him for your other thing, eh?
Yeah. I have indeed, yeah. I spoke to Dr. David Poole about 2 years ago about fish science, which was a fun time.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely cool stuff. They got probably more of a focus on like community type fishing now, I'd say, but there is a lot of different things for like whatever different type of fish you got.
Yeah.
And definitely from what I've looked at from it, it seems like a good kind of middle of like a good, everyone can use it, but still good quality kind of food. Like it's not super expensive or like you have to make a gel like with Repashy or whatever. You can just like give it to a little kid and they'll be able to feed their fish to no worries.
The only problem with it, and they've made it a little bit better recently, is it looks like it's something you'd buy from the budget section at the supermarket.
Yeah, they didn't focus on branding. They focused clearly what was inside the container, not on the outside of the container.
The like old packaging shop with their eyes, you know.
Yeah, the old packaging was dreadful. Like it was problematic, but they've recently changed it over, and it looks a lot better now, which is good.
Yeah,
a lot more.
It's like Hikari looks like it's really good quality because of the packaging, you know, and that's why people buy it and think it's great, but it's not. So there we go. But the fish science just looked like it was something. The budget thing in the supermarket looked horrible. Eh?
There's a good argument that it's not a top fish keeping brand because like it's not very well known as well. But I like it. So
if your top is in quality rather than popularity, then good count. But yeah, it's definitely
put
a
a
good
hard
one.
Definition on top.
Yeah, exactly. But the old packaging, I think, just going back to it, it was, I think, very similar to Aqua One, but very different kind of areas of food quality, shall we say. But yeah. Well, what's your next one, Ryan?
I was going to go with Repashy for food. I'd like Repashy. I think it's good. Good quality food.
Tell us a bit more about it.
It's good. Food's good. I like food. I'm getting hungry actually. Anyway, it's obviously I think everyone knows it. It's a gel-based food. And you mix it together with some water. It's just got really good stuff in it, like actual proper stuff in it. Good nutritionally, doesn't have much fillers and stuff, and the fish seem to get really good results on it. So yeah, there's a range for most fish, even vegan ones. If you've got vegan fish, you can cater for everyone.
Yeah, man, and I mean it's got a lot of it's kind of more originally focused on the reptile side of thing, but it's got a lot of different stuff and a lot of sort of new stuff that is present. Like I know, for example, Cam really likes the Agapo Explorer, which is like rainforest type stuff. But then, like you said, there's like vegan stuff or
they put like sunflower, like bloody dandelion stuff and all sorts of stuff in it. Like there's all sorts of stuff in there that's supposed to be good for the fish.
Like all sorts of random bits and pieces, eh?
Well, how do you?
Ingredients.
What do you say to people claiming that it's full of fillers?
Well, the filler is essentially the filler or the binder is agar, isn't it? And agar is an algae which actually has nutritional value.
What do you say to people that say that Repashy is full of fillers but make their own fish food up full of junk one fish food?
I know where you're going. With this. Yeah. I think that's just crazy.
We'll lean in.
It's Some people make frozen foods and they put all these really good ingredients together, and then as a binder they chuck the cheapest, nastiest fish food they can find that's full of crap and just cancel out any goodness. They'll be better off not putting that fish food there and not worrying about the fish food, putting vitamins in it. But anyway, it just cracks me up whenever I see these amazing fish food recipes that people put up and rave about, and they've just filled it full of crap. Might as well fill it full of flour. Feed your fish some flour, because that's as good as it's going to get. But anyway, I digress. I laugh when I see it on Facebook. Yeah.
What more could you want? Yeah, but no, it sounds good. I mean, it is.
Vishal just messaged me and said that you guys are kind of smart. You should make your own range of food to put on the market. So
kind of smart. Yeah, kind of
smart. Woo, yeah. There were three. That's
could be worse, I suppose.
There's no kinda. Yeah.
SMART.
Yeah, makes sense. But no, so yeah, Rapashi is definitely a good one. What more could you want? But the thing I will see, there's two things I'm thinking of going for my next one, and I'm gonna go for this one as a sort of safe bet, and then we can discuss the other one later. But I really like the water box aquariums. Obviously, they're pretty top end, like pretty flash and everything, but they look so cool, and the quality seems to be there more than anything else, really. Like just really flash, stuff. Which is, if you're trying to make a really nice display aquarium on that, probably would be a good one to go for.
I've never seen one, so I can't comment.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, you guys should Google it.
If we're looking at aquarium design, there's just some atrocious stuff on the market, eh? Like, again, I hate to call out Aqua One because I've said they're a top brand, but some of their stuff is absolutely atrocious. They've got these Weet-Bix stands that if they get wet more than once, they just literally just swell up and fall apart. The design of them is just terrible. They're like something from the 1990s, just a standard of tank. No thought put into it, no care put into it. Yeah. Like this tank behind me is all made out of everything in it's made out of plywood or plastic or aluminium, so that if it gets wet, it doesn't swell up. The overflows and stuff go through these pillars on the sides, so it's all nice, it's all integrated. The top of the tank's built so that if the overflow blocks up, it can fill up the tank and not overflow. It's just everything about it's built with some thought and some ideas. Yeah, it's got proper timers that go through to this control panel and stuff. Like it's all integrated. It's all nice. So
it's fancy.
Well, it's just common sense stuff. A lot of it's just common sense stuff, eh? Like you've got an aquarium, it's by water, it's going to get wet.
Yeah, man. And we have a comment from Matt who reckons Ryan should branch out and build some stands rather than try seal some tanks.
Oh, that's good. That is
makes
good.
Sense. Yeah, to be honest, Tradie Ryan probably would have a much better chance of building a stand, I reckon. So give it a go, man.
Yeah, the only problem with building stands is you need woodworking equipment, and I don't have any. Well, only basic stuff. I don't want to get jointers and table saws and my garage is for building my Holden at the moment, so that's it. Metalworking tools.
Well, you can make some metal stands.
I actually considered it with my welding. My welding's getting so good, I reckon I could.
Yeah, Ryan was telling me yesterday how he was so proud of his welding. So
I'm so happy with my welding. Yeah.
Weld together
after the first weekend of just blowing holes and everything and destroying everything, I can kind of sort of do it.
Nice. Did you guys have any others that you were really wanting to get to in terms of favorites in that?
It's not really an aquarium brand, but I do rate Inkbird as well for like an external thermostat. I think they're really good.
So I've only ever really had one major sort of interaction with Inkbird, which was my partner actually bought one to control her ice bath, and it broke after like a week or 2 weeks. So
did you send it back?
Yeah, but still it was a bit of a pain in the ass, so I can't comment. I haven't really used them for tanks, to be honest, before, but I do
just
hear
think-
good things. I'm sure I just got unlucky with one. Like
I've had one done one as
understand
well, but
why.
they sent me out a new one and it was fine.
Yeah.
So
The
Vishal
one I
also
bought, I
asked,
couldn't connect.
what's that?
The one I bought, I couldn't connect.
You can't
I
figure it out. Yeah.
I got sent it to review it, but I couldn't connect it, so they never got a review.
Even
See,
though
it's
it's pretty
it's because you
simple.
don't have any electricity. That's why.
Yeah,
You've
absolutely.
got to
because,
pedal
like,
faster.
I'm not on
It doesn't-
right now, or on the internet, or have lights on. Duh.
It doesn't work on candle-powered aquariums. That's where you've gone wrong.
He's plugging it into the wall and it's going.
Oh, I'm so glad that I can lift my cup of coffee because I've got big boy muscles.
So we've got a couple other comments. Matt also says that maybe you could try weld this tank together, Ryan. Give it a go.
Probably be more successful than sealing it.
It definitely isn't going to go worse. So, I look forward to hearing about that in the What's Been Going On segment next week. And then Vishal says this. Have we ever reviewed any Jed tanks?
I've had Jed coffee before.
I've seen the JED ones. I haven't actually reviewed them. To me, they look like another sort of Aqua One, Sun sort of Jibo type brand that comes out of the same sort of factories. But I haven't actually really had a lot to do with them, so I can't really comment.
Yeah, I haven't had a massive amount either. It's like I don't know. They seem to do the job, but it's nothing fancy, like the ones I've seen, like the silicon works a bit messy and all that, but I mean it's fine. It's not that expensive. Seems to hold water, so
they don't seem to be that common in New Zealand, did they? That's the thing.
No, I didn't think so. I didn't even know where you'd buy one, to be honest, but they seem to
probably
be
the type of thing that someone who knows someone in China or whatever has just bought in a couple of containers of them at one stage and sold some.
Yeah,
they crack at it, but I don't know if anyone's actually bringing them in properly.
Yeah, I don't know. At least not at the moment. And then Thomas wants us to have a fight, so that sounds fun.
We need to have a rap battle.
Yeah, man. Do the fighting without words. But yeah, so it does. Well, anything else you guys wanted to bring up before we scoot?
I think it's exciting that we've got ADA and Tropica here.
Yep. So what is that?
Both aquatic tissue culture plants, and they're heavy in the aquascaping world with tissue culture plants and aquatic plant fertilizers and that kind of good stuff.
Ecosoils and stuff.
Yeah. Whether or not we get the ADA range of tooling and aquariums and that kind of stuff coming in, which is like top of the market. It's like essentially an Aqua One tank would be like, I don't know, Toyota Prius, maybe. Maybe that's a little bit too good. The ADA would come in like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. So cool if that kind of stuff comes in. But yeah, whether the market's here in New Zealand for that sort of aquarium, I'm not entirely sure. But
yeah, it's hard because in New Zealand there's all sorts of cool stuff overseas, but some of we don't even seem to get. Like
market's
just we never see it, even though the distributors have got the rights to it. They just don't bring it in.
Yeah.
And it's a long way to ship it as well, I suppose.
Potentially things like minimum orders and stuff like that to keep them on hand might not be worth it for them, all that kind of stuff that goes on. But yeah, it is cool. There is some of that stuff beginning to come in. We've been lacking it for a while, so yeah.
Yeah, man, there's some pretty cool aquascaping stuff around. A lot of that kind of movement is picking up in terms of the commercial side, it seems, which is always a good sign.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that is, I believe that it's improving what's inside people's aquariums as well, and the way we're sort of visualizing what aquariums can be turned into as well, if that makes sense, because some of the stuff is now available. People are pushing a little bit harder and trying a bit more.
Do you know what I see a lot now is what I call kind of like the family type hobbyists, which is like people who aren't that serious about it, but like, the parents have a little tank with their kids in that. But I'm seeing a lot of them having like actually doing like proper aqua soil and like trying to grow the plants instead of just replacing them every, couple of weeks or whatever. I've seen quite a lot of that recently, and I guess to varying degrees of success, of course, but at least there's the effort and like people with decent aqua soil, like decent enough aqua soil, or more interesting plants, shall we say, like not just peace lilies and stuff. So it seems pretty cool, and people seem to quite enjoy the whole plant side of things as well as the fish side of things, especially if they're not as deep into fish tanks, I guess, which is quite cool. So yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that recently, which is always a good sign.
That's good. People putting more care into it is always good, because then it's going to be more successful for them.
Yeah, man, exactly. But yeah,
well,
sweet as.
We've done all our brand bashing, so that's good. Although no one mentioned Seachem, so maybe that's a discussion for another day.
That can be its own podcast.
We discussed Seachem. Cam discussed Seachem.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Did I?
Well, you mentioned that they make chemicals, but they shouldn't make hardware. But then you guys both said that someone else made their tanks for their filters for them.
They like brand it and do the marketing for it, I guess, which is cool.
We had a conversation about it, but no one brought up the brand specifically to talk about.
Oh, well, next time. We can do our least favorite brands, I guess, and who knows, maybe it might come up.
They do Prime. So let's just give them that. Okay.
They do Prime.
Do.
All right.
There you go. Okay, cool. Well, I guess I should probably go get some teenagers ready for school and all that sort of jazz. So we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for learning about our top fish keeping brands, and we shall join you for another exciting, riveting episode next Wednesday.
Sounds good. See you guys later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.